Yeah, I know. Guess you should look at the that little package of cookies. 600 calories.
Chuck Wiggers is in ours. These are senators. Julian Brown's are senators. These are, I should know. I know it's not Chuck anymore.
Assembly?
It's,
Nick Redeker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick. Yeah. I gotta get hold of it. Yes, that's one thing I'm doing in my announcements. I gotta do, I can't believe Janelle came back into work tonight. She must be nuts.
I'll be changing into a hoodie and steel toe boots.
I couldn't believe when I saw her name. Yeah, they said too they were gonna put the kibosh on 6 o'clock. Is it 6 o'clock?
I got
It
58
is.
on my paper.
I got 6 o'clock on mine. Guys, you got 6 o'clock?
Nope, 5:58.
Oh, 5:58. What do you? Mine says 6. 6:01. Gentlemen, are you ready? I'm going to call the Village of Vernon Board meeting to order. Today is October 19th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance on the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. Brad, would you please do the roll call in open meeting compliance?
President Chu,
I'm here.
Trustee Slaney,
Present.
Trustee Finch,
Here.
Trustee Newman,
Here.
Trustee Millies.
Here.
This meeting was noticed and posted according to law.
Thank you, Brad. Are there any public comments? Any public, Bob, you want to come up to the microphone here and just state, we know you, but please just state your name and address for the audience.
Bob Heineman, living 210 South 9085 Clark Street, Big Bend, Wisconsin. As per your comment when I came in the door, I've never been in cuffs. It is on my bucket list.
You're funny, Bob.
Anyways, I just wanted to make a comment. We had a meeting in the village, and there were 150 people there, and there was probably 50 or so comments, and none of them that spoke at the meeting were in favor of the, shared police department. And so, I don't know, you guys are gonna do what you guys are gonna do. I can't get our guys, I don't know what they have some issue with things or, whatever, but I don't, like I said before, I don't like the fact that we're gonna pay half the bill when we're 1/10 of your size, and I just think it's a bad idea all around. And when they say we're gonna get the same services, I can't see how that could be. I mean, we're gonna have one cop from 7 to 3, and you guys know all this, and one cop from 3 to 11, and we have more than that now, and we're not gonna have during the morning on the weekends at all. So that whole thing is, and at this time in the world, taking police off the beat or off the, I think we need more cops. I know I drive a school bus and I talk to people that work at the school, and there's a big concern there there's always a concern with the school. So you're gonna take them away and have one cop that's could be way over in Hidden Lakes or wherever, and that school's sitting there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's my opinion. I just think it's a super bad idea, and it's all money on their part, But I'll tell you, my taxes, since I've been in Big Bend my whole life, but I've owned my house for 30-some years, and it's still within a couple $100 of what it was, It might be the condition of the house, that might be bringing it down a little bit, but that's besides the point.
Well, thank you, Bob, for your comments. You have a good night. Stay safe. Yes. Sir, would you like to come forward and state your name and address?
My name is Bill Clark, and I live in Big Bend. My address is W227S8860, Marianne Avenue. I live right behind St. Joseph's Church. I've been there for 38 years. One of my biggest concerns is the elementary school. It's crazy. I'll put it that it's a simple thing to see. Mm-hmm. I walked down to Big Ben's board meeting, and like Bob said, there were at least 150 people there. I walked down there with my wife. We had to cross 164. This was getting close to about 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. We had to wait forever just to cross that street. Then when we got on the other side, when it was much later, we were lucky to be able, up where the lights were, to get across. It's not patrolled enough, as far as I'm concerned right now. This village needs more police. And the police that they have will never be replaced by Waukesha County. It'll never happen. And there will be things that happen. Like I said, I've been out there 38 years. I drove out there to show my wife the house, and she looked at me and she said, "Where are you taking me? To the boonies?" And I thought it was funny because that's what it was back then. It is not that way now. 164 is a huge cut through for Waukesha, Tishikan, Wind Lake, Burlington, and so on. And 24 is a cut through. As a matter of fact, ever since they upgraded Edgewood, where our post office is, that's a cut through for Muskego to McGuanago. I'm in the middle of all these crosses, and I can hear it. Mm-hmm. I just want to let you know that we really do need the Big Bend police, and we need more patrolling. I think I've said enough.
Okay. Thank you so much for your comments. You have a nice night and stay dry. Right, Dylan? Are there any other public comments? Just note for the record that there are no other public comments. I just need to read a possible closed session for consideration and possible action on a motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85(1)(e), deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. More specifically, the Hein-Newman development and the Village of Big Bend's request for a shared service agreement with the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, and also Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85(1)(c), considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any, evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. More specifically, the DPW director, the administrator clerk, the treasurer, deputy clerks, DPW employees, rec director, and Vernon Fire Department employees. In closed session will be the village board of trustees, the clerk, the administrator clerk, and the Vernon Fire Command staff and the village attorney by phone. This closed session would require a motion and a roll call vote, and we just note for the record, there will be no action taken in closed session, just so everyone knows that. And Officer Hollingsworth, is he still busy? Nick, do you know? Okay. So, gentlemen, if you don't mind, on the agenda, we have our proclamations, but both Eagle Scouts will be here closer to 7 o'clock. David works till 6 o'clock, and where he works, he has to shower, and so both boys will be here closer to 7 to receive their award, and that proclamation, and also Ward's on his way. And board members, I wasn't 100% sure if you needed to go into closed session to discuss Big Ben's request for the shared agreement, or if you wanted to. If you want to go into closed session, we can do that. If you're ready to make your decision now publicly, whatever you choose to do. But if you decide that you wanted to go into closed session and discuss it, we'd come back out in open session and make a decision. It's up to you. I obviously, we never break the open meetings laws, and I didn't know where. I know we talked about it in the last closed session, and Brad, our administrator, got us some additional information that one board member had asked for. So I would turn to the board members. Do you still need to go into closed session? Jim, you probably don't.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But it's up to the board. If you feel you're ready to make a decision publicly, we can do that.
Yep.
So, and then we don't have to go into closed session for that item. The other ones we do obviously have to, but would anyone like to start? I mean, I just wanted to give just a little brief history. Several months ago, shortly after I was elected, both the village presidents from Waukesha and Big Bend came and said things that they were interested in discussing, and I explained to them that we have a shared service committee, which I'd like to get going, and we are working with the Village of Waukesha. We have a date, right, guys? We're the 30th. Yes. And I did. President Goodman had asked if I could get our committee together, and I told him our committee for Big Bend's already appointed. I don't know if he has appointed members, but they want to start discussions also. And when he asked about doing this, obviously one board member doesn't make that decision, and that's why it was brought to the entire board, so that you can evaluate, that request and make a decision. We make our decisions as a board, not as an individual. So, and we had a great closed session. We got a lot of good information from Captain Olinger, from Deputy Inspector Jim Gum, had a lot of, good information. Brad was able to provide a lot of good information there and additional information. And of course, Jim, you weren't involved in our fund budget process, but our budget, we're really hurting in one area. Possibly, we have a possible $300,000 deficit in our budget. So money is an issue. It always is an issue for every board. And Jim, you can attest to that as being a chairman, and Jeff and Gary being supervisors on a board. So money is always an issue. So I just want to give a little history, and then I'll turn it over to board members if you want to bring up your issues.
Just as a follow-up, I've been on the Shared Services Committee for about 3 years, I guess, something like that. Worked 18 months with Mr. Goodman, Jeff, and a couple other guys that run their side of the fence as far as shared services go. And I am a major proponent of shared services. I think that's the way in the future. And that's neighbors helping neighbors. But it's got to work out for both sides. It's got to be a good deal for both sides. In this particular case, I don't know it's a good deal for either side, to be honest with you. I'm well aware of the money issue. And I don't understand that how or why we need to pay an additional $40,000 for more coverage. And I said this last time, I doubt whether we're actually going to get more coverage anyhow. I understand how it's supposed to work, but I see a lot of differences between, as an example, the number of arrests from that Big Ben does versus how we do it. The philosophical difference between they're using it to make money versus our using it to make it safe. And I'm referring to traffic citations and like in that particular case, which I kind of oppose anyhow. But in the long run, I don't think we need to spend at this time $40,000 extra for what coverage we might or might not get. I think, again, in the spirit of shared services, down the road, it's probably something that would be a good thing for us to do and work together on them. But at this point, I don't think we need it. I was a member when we decided to go that route right after we became a village, and we caught some flack for even doing it then. But we had to do it because we're... I guess that's all I got.
Thank you, Jim. Gary?
Yeah,
Trustee Finch?
I've looked at it and I've thought about it and it'd be nice to have the extra coverage. And maybe down the road we could do it. But you're right, the philosophies between,
Talk into your microphone. People want to hear you, Gary.
excuse me, here we go. So the philosophies between the two areas seems to be different too. So I think at this time with what we could do financially and stuff, I was just, well, just keep what we got right now.
Thank you, Trustee Finch. Gary, were you done?
Yep.
Trustee Newman?
Well, what I'm going to say is not all that much different from what's been said by the previous three of you. I have no doubt that the Sheriff's Department can add to our services, but for me, my biggest gripe is the budgetary constraints right now. I mean, we've got existing departments that are already looking for more money, and I don't think it's a great idea for us to decide we're going to throw that money in another direction at this point. I think we should focus on what we have, given all of the inflation-driven costs rises in the last 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been. I mean, we've seen equipment costs and other expenses double.
Right.
So I think we need to kind of get a handle on that before we look into expanding any of our services.
Thank you, Dylan. Trustee Millies?
Well, I think everybody covered it pretty well. Not much less to say, but I've been all over the place on this issue. First I was thinking we don't really need it, and after discussing and learning more, I'm hearing, well, yeah, we do need it. And public safety is always a priority for the board and stuff. But now going through the budget and seeing our restraints on that, we're already spending $200,000 for the coverage we do have, and we just can't justify an additional $40,000 at this time.
And Jeff, were you done? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I just wanted to echo too. I know this board is always a board that looks to other communities to help or work together. I have all the confidence in the world that our Shared Services Committee will bring this issue up. Maybe whether they do it internally and they feel it's time for both boards to come together to talk to this issue. And I agree with Jim 100%. Whether people like it or not, in the future, you're going to see all municipalities come together on fire, EMS, DPW, and the reason is the cost. I mean, obviously, you want all your residents to have the best service that we can provide, and economics obviously plays into that. And I know we didn't take this lightly. The other thing too, first of all, I want to thank all the residents that either called or emailed or did any communication to myself or the board, because that means a lot to us that our residents are involved. And overwhelmingly, Captain, I have to tell you, our community just loves our coverage. Nothing against Big Ben. I would never say anything against, they do a great job. I watch those poor officers. Thank God they're out there for the kids for the Big Ben Elementary School, because that is is unbelievable, but so many great compliments, Nick, on the service from the sheriff's department, and, so, as Jeff said, I did have some residents say, boy, that for $40,000, we could get more coverage, but like I said, I have full confidence that if we get these issues to our shared services committee and they work together, and maybe the boards come together just to put more thought into the whole concept and research and getting input, because I know, as Mr. Heineman said, I didn't know how many people were at the meeting, but when I tuned in, there were 471 people watching on YouTube. So and it's no disrespect to the village board or the village of Big Bend. I would like to promote, and I think this board does too, all of our neighboring communities. We'd like to hold them in the highest esteem, and anything we can work together on, we're going to strive to do that. If it works out, great, but at least we'll work together. But at this time, I would, at this time, just hearing the comments from the board, just make a motion to, at this time, not do the shared services agreement with the village of Big Bend.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I know we've had a lot, gentlemen, but none? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And just so everybody knows, it doesn't mean, all it means is we're not going to participate, and it's not because we don't like you guys.
At this time.
Yes, at this time. But just so you know, Bob, too, and we'll always have those open agendas, that this is an item that our shared service committee and Jim and Dylan are going to work. They're our appointed members, and we always do open agendas. And I know, Jim, in the past, if there were the public there, not that they'd necessarily participate in the discussion, but they always welcome people being at the meetings and their input. So thank you so much for coming.
One point, I don't remember the gentleman's name that spoke about the school.
Mr. Clark? Mr. Clark?
Glad to meet you, sir. That's an area, I agree 100% with you. That would be a specific topic for shared services to talk with Big Bend to see what we could do about maybe having a Waukesha County there during school or something like that. I don't know how that would work out, but that would be a possibility.
That's a crazy intersection.
It is.
And I know there's children that go there from Big Bend. There's got to be kids that go there from Vernon.
Oh, yeah.
The school is in Vernon.
Yes.
And I'm just saying that area right there is a stickler.
That whole traffic pattern
Right.
around the school leaves a lot to be desired in the first place. And then there's the speed on 164. That's another issue.
Yeah.
I just, all I have to say is that I've walked around the area and in the morning, I live not too far from the school, but I can walk the electric right away and hit 164. And I can look down that street, and this is at the time when school is going to be going on.
Right.
And kids are going to be crossing. And this is just a terrible situation. I don't know what they could do to control the traffic, because sometimes the traffic is backed up south and backed up north.
Okay. Thanks. And just so gentlemen know that, especially from shared services, I did talk to the superintendent of schools, and when and if you guys have this on the agenda, one of the school board representatives would like to be in that discussion with you, because they are concerned as well as all of our villages are also. So just so you know that the school board's with you and wants to work with the villages on that issue. Did we vote on that? Yes. Okay. Hello. I know we had a motion and a second. I made a motion and Jim seconded.
Right. And we voted.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I thought, oh,
This particular discussion, Mr. Macy might not be happy with.
I know, and then we
But I
had
did-
some.
Okay, just,
All right, gentlemen, at this point on the agenda, we're asking to appoint a village member to the village, it's for the Joint Board of Review for our TIF district. We need to we missed our annual meeting last year, and for 2 years in a row. I talked to the state. Brad's paid our $150. We're in full compliance there. He's filed I filed the report 1 year. Brad filed it in 2020-23. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night. So we're in full compliance, and I would ask the board if they would possibly appoint me as the member for the Village of Big Bend TIF Board of Review. I mean, Joint Review Board for the TIF district.
He makes the motion.
Oh, Dylan made the motion?
Yeah, and I seconded it.
Okay. Gary Fish. And in discussion, I just wanted to tell you that the board has to appoint the village member, and Dylan has indicated that he'd like to serve on as and I would put that on the agenda for the joint board review. I also have a lot more information to give to the TIF district joint board of review, which will make the school board really, really happy. So, any discussion, gentlemen? Nothing? Jim? Nope. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Dylan, excuse me, Brad. Our administrator clerk drafted resolution 2023-6. It was just to reinforce or confirm our discussion in regards to the chief's change in the wages. Did you get an opportunity to read it? Did you have any questions on it? We just wanted something in writing because we had to go back and get all that information. So this way we have a clear resolution. Is there a motion for adoption of Resolution 2023-6, a resolution for Chief Feldy's wages and benefits?
Motion to adopt.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Trustee Finch. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board members, on item F, do you mind if we go into closed session to discuss a couple items that I just want, especially Jim, I want Jim to to participate in those discussions we haven't made a decision on related to wages and benefits. And then hopefully it's our intent that we would schedule a public hearing for November 16th, but if the board doesn't mind, we'll come back to that item after closed session. Is there a consensus from the board to bring this up after closed session? I'll just note for the record that all
Yes.
board members are, by consensus, will do this afterwards. Because I just want, I want Jim's input because he means a lot to me. So, you all do, but
There must be something coming up. I know I'm getting set up.
Board members, the next agenda item is always a fun one. We do this every year. Remember, Jim? We always look at some of our delinquent accounts. And board members, just so you know, this was based on, I took this off of ACS. Some of these may have paid their bills. I know the first one on this, on our list normally always pays their bills. Did she? Yeah. I didn't hear back from her. I mean, the only thing is you can see the ones that are in orange. We can't put that on the tax bill for whatever there's usually a state statute that doesn't allow that. Okay. And hopefully they will pay those. But the ones that are green, I hate to. The ones that are green, we might have some changes based upon the investigation that Linda did in Workhorse to see if someone, but the motion would just be a motion to allow staff to send out letters to the people that have not paid these bills, that has to be paid by November 2nd, or they have to contact Brad to meet with the village board by October 25th to make if they have a special circumstance that they need the board to grant them some waiver. So that would be my motion, is to allow staff to send out letters for unpaid bills that are indicated on the report that was given and updated by staff with the dates that I mentioned, that if there is the date of the 25th that they need to meet with the board, but they have to have these bills paid by November 2nd. So if they don't pay them, they go on their tax bill.
Okay.
That was my motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Trustee Solani. Discussion, gentlemen.
November 2nd seems to be
Pretty soon.
pretty short notice.
Yeah, I know.
Is-
it
is-
is, but
We could get it a little, Candy usually likes them by the 15th of November.
Yeah.
If we put the second on there, then at least.
At least it get moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what you choose to do about that at that time is still up to us, I guess, anyhow.
Right.
Or up to you guys, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody says they paid her,
Or they're gonna pay, or,
yeah, I mean, if they have it, we'll tell them, we need payment by, the date that the bills go out, or the.
Right.
Before that.
Okay.
We don't want them sitting on it.
Right, because, and like I said, I mean, this is based on an older report, and if it's not applicable, we would just won't send, the letter and the invoice. Does that sound good to the board?
Yep.
Further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
aye,
Opposed? Motion carried. Board members, our next resolution, 2020-23-07, is a resolution to approve the Village of Vernon 2020-24 fee schedule. Just so the board knows, all department heads were given the fee schedule, and they did their research. Vinny just did an update in June, so there was nothing there, nothing from Brad, nothing from Brett, our DPW director. Mike Zolecki, our rec director, went out and researched fees, and they're comparable to other communities, and he didn't feel an increase would be appropriate on any areas. And the only increases that you'll see are the ones from Foth and our attorney. So that's really the only change to the fee schedule, is just amending those fees for which would begin January 1st, 2024, for the new fees for legal, engineering, surveying, the planner. So that would be the motion to approve, and it wouldn't go into effect till Brad posts, but he's got a lot of time to post that resolution. But I would make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-23-7, resolution to approve the Village of Vernon 2020-24 fee schedule. Is there a motion? Is there a second to my motion?
Second.
Second by Trustee Newman. Discussion, gentlemen.
I didn't see the fee schedule in the packet. Is it not in there?
It's above the inspection services thing. Or do you mean the proclamation or the actual fee?
No, I saw the proclamation.
Oh, okay.
I was looking for the actual fee schedule.
I saw it sometime. We sent it out back a while ago, didn't we? It was a while ago, but.
Might have
we
been
already
changed by now.
Huh?
It might have changed.
It has changed, okay.
It has been changed. I just thought if we're gonna approve it, we should at least see it.
Okay.
It wasn't in there.
Unless we're only approving the proclamation or whatever, the resolution.
Yeah, and
Still, how do you?
the resolution actually indicates Exhibit A, which is the fee
Right.
schedule. And you did get the email from Sean, and on in his email, he gave, it was really he does it every year, what he anticipates the cost for a comprehensive land use plan mapping. And then on the second page was every year, Foth, I've never seen a year where Foth doesn't increase. It's like $4 here, $4 there. Here's the man of the hour. Yay! You're soaked.
Yeah. Right into the crash, hopefully the last one of my career.
Oh, my God. Are you okay? Yeah. Oh, good. Well, Ward, if you could just let us finish this part, and then, gentlemen, do you want to come back to that? Just do the proclamation, or what would you like to do, gentlemen? That way Brad could at least print it off for Jim, so. Yeah, and I emailed it to the board. Here, let me,
We can move on to,
yeah, well, nobody moved on that, did we? Yeah. I did, and, yeah.
He
so we'll-
seconded it.
Should we just table our motion and come back for voting? Because I really would like
this
you to
would
see
be a
it.
legitimate use of the
Right.
term table.
Table.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Ward, we would like to present you with a proclamation. May I read it? And then come on forward, and I want you to face the camera.
Really?
Oops, wrong proclamation. Sorry. You're not an Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, come on.
Oldest Eagle Scout ever.
Whereas we are here today to express our appreciation to Deputy Ward Hollingsworth and honor him for his distinguished 30-year career with the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department and for his years of service in the Village of Vernon. And whereas Ward Hollingsworth has played an important role with the Village of Vernon becoming its first dedicated officer for patrol in the Village of Vernon, and whereas Ward Hollingsworth's service in the Village of Vernon has resulted in many letters, phone calls, emails from Village of Vernon residents, business owners, the Vernon Fire Department, all expressing their appreciation for his outstanding service in the Village of Vernon. And whereas on behalf of the entire Village Board, I want to express my sincere appreciation to Ward Hollingsworth for his loyalty to the Village of Vernon over the past several years, and we wish him much happiness as he begins an exciting new chapter in his life. Now, therefore, I, Karen Shu, President of the Village of Vernon, do hereby proclaim Friday, October 20th, 2023 as Ward Hollingsworth Day in the Village of Vernon, and urge all citizens and employees to join me and the Village Board in congratulating Ward Hollingsworth on his outstanding career and for his years of service in the Village of Vernon, and expressing our sincere appreciation to him for his unwavering dedication and service. We wish him many years of happiness and good health, issued this 19th day of October 2023, and it's all signed by the Village Board. First, let's applaud Ward. Come on, Ward. And then, Ward, if you wouldn't mind, we'd like you to hold up the proclamation, and board members, I want you to all gather around in the front. We need a picture for the newsletter. So, Ward, if you could stand here. Yep, and Ward, we're going to all gather around you. Yes, come on in, Nick. You always need the big guys in here.
Yeah. I said that was in the newsletter too.
I'm going to say that, but you're going to be in again. Come on, guys. Also gonna read you. Are we all in here?
Yes. Okay.
Yay!
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good job.
We'll put something up on our Facebook page too.
Oh, that's all good. Ward? I know you don't have to mess, that's your Wayne Bait. Thank you, Ward.
Hey, there's
You're
one
the best.
missing.
Thanks, Ward. Did you want to say anything, dear?
I'd rather not.
Okay.
That's all right.
And I'll get you the last newsletter. In fact, I'm gonna make you a little booklet of all the times you've been in our newsletter. Then you can show your wife. See, I really work hard. Thank you again, Ward. Let's clap one more time. Ward, you don't have any report except for that you're wet, right?
No, I'm just a little damp.
Well, thank you again, Ward. Nothing but glowing comments about you.
I've already gotten cards sent to the Department Substation.
See?
I'm surprised.
You're really loved here, Ward, and we're going to miss you. Thanks again, Ward. Alrighty, let's see, what do we want to do about the fee schedule? Oh, yeah, that way you could see it.
He just printed it?
He's printing it now.
Okay.
Because I want Jim to see the only changes we made were to the fourth portion. I mean, they always put,
Right?
what's that? And the attorney, yep.
Didn't we pencil that in before along? I don't know. I'm trying to remember what it looked like before.
I remember talking about those two changes.
Right.
It would be nice to know that nothing changed since.
I don't need one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tried to highlight, just so you could zero in on what the actual, I changed the year. And I tried to put the new amounts in red, just so but everything else remained the same. And Alex, Vince, Brett, Brad, Mike, all the guys really looked at all the fees and felt, that they were good for next year. And the fourth usually goes up $4 each guy And they always put their administrative assistant in there, and we don't.
That was the only changes, right?
Oh, and you know what? We'll get out those, we'll get out those two other resolutions so we can all sign them.
I did.
Okay. The attorney is probably right in your.
Right here.
Yeah, John's working for free now. I hope he's not listening.
I was looking at red ones.
I saw the yellow one, didn't see the red, so.
So we have a motion made and seconded, gentlemen. Any further discussion, or is none? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board members, the next agenda item is the building inspection service contract and the Vernon Fire Chief. It's my understanding, Brad, did you sent out a new, we revised the fire chief's agreement because he really doesn't need a contract per se because state statute. Jim, I know you know this so well. The only way you get rid of a fire chief in a village or city that's not the first class is, or a town, is that for cause or if they retire or resign. So Brad revised the contract based on that and put some language in, not specifically to the wage, but whatever the board approves.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys.
guys.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ward. We're going to miss you. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, we'll be in touch.
Okay, bye, guys. Let's see. So, and Vince had no change. It's the standard. It's just the dates, and his the portions are still the same. So, we'd have a motion just to authorize the village president to sign the contracts for the building inspector. We'll do them one at a time. For the building inspector.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And is there a motion to authorize the village president to sign the Vernon Fire Chief agreement?
I'll make that motion, except we need to also include whether it goes to the attorney or not in the motion.
Okay, well, that's good. If he-
And
it is-
kind of, we'll open on that. It looked like somebody said in the packet that it's been like since 2009.
It's on the last page. I always,
Yeah, I saw it
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
it's been a while.
Since it was last reviewed. I don't know if we've made any other substantial changes to it
Yeah,
over
and
that period of time,
and
aside from dollars. you
so
know.
Jim, that's in your motion for attorney, and I'm assuming you're labor attorney, correct?
Yeah.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second for this trustee Finch. Discussion, gentlemen? Like I said, just so you know, I mean, it hasn't been, I think it's 2010, wasn't it?
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know what laws may or may not have changed, or if what we may or not have changed.
There is one law that has changed that the agreement does not cover. It's the residency requirement that's in there. We did talk to Alex about that today, where in the past, the village, communities were could be much more restrictive on residency of employees, and that's loosened up now in the last 2 or 3, like 2 years. And now they can require residency within 15 miles of the municipal boundary, which Alex, met his previous requirement that was in there. Currently meets the current one, or the 15-mile one. So, I mean, that'd be one thing that I would see the attorney maybe rewriting in there, but that's a pretty simple agreement. I know the ones that I've looked at for the last couple of years, pretty much just boilerplate year in, year out, with the minor, I won't say minor changes, but the changes that were made this year too. Just that the agreement will run indefinitely until resignation, termination, and then the other one,
By appointed, the salary appointed by that's standard. I mean, somebody else could say, well, I'm going to give you $100,000, but if we don't approve it, he's not getting. So further discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. So Brad, you're going to send that to our newbie? Our new guy?
It's still
He's retired.
so Marzick and
Marsick.
It's Linder Marsick, it's still, but Gary's retired.
Did he?
Yeah, well, you know he had a heart attack.
Oh, no, I didn't know
The
that.
second one.
Sorry to hear that.
His first one, he's okay, but doctor said, you're done.
We were too rough on him.
Well, Brad worked him over the last time, so.
I can imagine that one.
Brad, any update on the Center Bridge project?
No.
No update. And board members, you know that we always keep that on there. Just our attorney said to keep it on to.
There was in the AP an invoice for Center Drive design.
Yeah.
Who is that?
As for, so the, Foltz was chosen and is doing the work the way the way the contract works is the state pays them the full amount that's due, and then we pay the state our 20%, excuse me, of that. So the amount that was in the APs was our 20% of the last billing they did, and there's been 2 so far, or this was the second one. I don't recall what each one was offhand. I think this one was like $1,300, and the other one I just can't recall off the top of my head what it was, but.
At the end of the day, do we get reimbursed for that then?
No, so that's our.
Or is that-
That's the 20% cost we have.
That's- okay.
So, yep, so we're not, on the design work, we're not fronting the entire cost and then get reimbursed. The invoices go directly to the state, and then we pay,
Okay.
the state pays them in full, and then we reimburse the state for our 20% of it. So,
Does that make sense, gentlemen? So, like I said, and Brad, just so you know that Brad and I did get an email, and Brad did ask Mr. Macy some questions, to research some questions regarding the lease agreements or buying property right away. So we sent that over to John because we need an answer soon. So just so you know that that's in the attorney's hands, because I know, I'm pretty sure, Brad, you sent that to the board, that email from the engineering firm? Yeah, you did. All right, gentlemen, I am going to defer to the trustees for their, and then I'll come back to me. So, Jim, do you have any announcements, reports? Or?
Not any announcements. The only thing I wanted to mention is I did get, I think it was 3 calls from residents that were not in favor of our joining Big Bend in that agreement. So that's all I had.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Trustee Finch?
Yeah, the only thing I have is at the end of the month, we'll have trick or treating around.
Okay.
And people should be careful and watch for the kids when they're trick or treating, and hope everybody has a good time.
It's on Sunday, the 29th, is it 1 to 3? 1 to 4?
1 to 3.
1 to 3, 1 to 3. Yep. Trustee Newman?
Nothing. Stay dry, and thank you, Ward Hollingsworth.
Trustee Millies?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Board members, just so you know, Brad and I, and this is an agenda item, so if you have questions, you are more than welcome to ask. Brad and I did go to the school board district. It was not a district meeting, it was their meeting of the whole, or like a workshop meeting before their actual meeting. And we've had some good discussion with the board members. They're going to meet again on this coming Monday. I'll be in Naples, Florida. Sorry. And Brad, I know Brad's going to go to that meeting, and Kathy Karlowitz, the administrator clerk from the town of Mugwanago, is going to be there. I think their whole board's coming again too. They're actually going to discuss, what the school boards, we thought it was a done deal, didn't we, Brad? But there was several school board members that said they never discussed it. Right, Brad?
yeah.
And they've asked Brad for some additional information in regards to absentee voting, and I know Brad's got all that information. I don't know if you forwarded it yet, Brad, but yeah. Yeah, so anything they asked for, Brad did give them that information. So it was a good discussion. We'll see what happens. I'm sure Brad's going to report back. We only asked for 2020-24, and if we can't use the gym, we'll just discuss with Brad what he feels is the best alternative for the community, and go from there and educate our. Anytime you make a change, that's always tough on our electors, but we'll know on Monday. So if we have to make a decision soon, we could at least get that in the newsletter to let them know what might happen, because that's a big election for Brad, the presidential. He's not running for president, but You know? He really secretly wanted to. He asked me to take one of his papers. I told him no. So that was a good meeting, though. And then Brad and I had a meeting with the wonderful people from Citizens Bank. We're just trying to make sure that we have everything covered for tax collection. I know Brad, for the next newsletter, is going to do a mock tax bill so that they can see this is what you bring in, and some information on that mock tax bill. So we're just trying to do everything in our power, right, Brad, to make it easier for them. Citizens Bank did say that Brad did a great job working with them last year, and I know that'll continue.
Seemed to go quite smooth, really.
Right.
Yep.
I was just surprised to see how many municipalities Citizens collects for. It's a lot. Busy bank. And the other thing, Brad, if you could note this for the next board meeting, if we could meet at 5:30 on November 2nd, the Sheriff's Department would like you to meet who they would like to suggest for our next replacement for Ward. I'm hesitant to give you the name at this point because I haven't fully talked to him about it. So if the board members, if you could jot down 5:30 at November 2nd, that way, we could do that.
Right.
And then you know what I'm going to do, board members, since I have other announcements, I'm going to table my announcements so we can do these wonderful proclamations for these wonderful young men that are here tonight. So what I'm going to do is, if David and Edward and their families, if you could just come right up here, and I want you to come right here. Where's Terry? I was going to say, I thought.
I thought that name looked familiar when I said.
So what I want you to do, because you guys are on camera now, I'm going to have you, Terry, come on up here. If you could just stand right there, parents stand right next to your child. We're going to read the proclamations. And then we're all going to take a big picture after we're done. But I'd like to read the Eagle Scout proclamations for both Edward Pilon and David Winarski. So, and then we're going to actually hand them to him. We're going to do a photo again, guys. You ready?
Ooh, okay.
Whereas the mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young men to make an ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by installing in them the values of the Scout Oath and law. Scouts achieve their rankings by fulfilling requirements in these areas of leadership, service, and outdoor skills. And whereas the trail to an Eagle Scout is a very steep slope with only 4% of all scouts achieving this highest ranking, that of an Eagle Scout, and this comes only after earning 21 necessary badges, including first aid, citizenship in community, citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the world, communications, environmental science, personal fitness, personal management, camping, and family life. In addition to developing skills in emergency preparedness and life-saving, and a choice among cycling, hiking, and swimming, all of which must be completed by a Scout's 18th birthday. And whereas Edward Pilon and David Winarski have fulfilled all of the aforementioned requirements in addition to completing their Eagle Scout project, a project that encompassed all aspects of the candidate's leadership training and involves the planning, development, leadership, and eventual documentation of a project whose sole benefit is to the community at large. Edward Pilon's project consisted of building a beautiful benches at the Vernon Evangelical Church, which allows anyone to rest safely and comfortably by the church. And David Winarski built a beautiful sign that is adjacent to Center Drive for Hackett Field that directs many, many people that come to our parks to the field that they need to go to. Now, therefore, the Village Board of the Village of Vernon, on behalf of all the residents, joins Troop 26 in recognizing these bright and outstanding young men for their many accomplishments, specifically in receiving the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America, and hereby hereby proclaims Saturday, October 21st, 2023, for Edward and David's Court of Honor as Edward Pelon Day and David Winarski Pelon Day in the Village of Vernon, and we witness this on the 19th day of October. Gentlemen, let's applaud these young men first, and their families, and board members, if you can gather around David, and I want to give you your proclamations, but we're going to take them back, and we're going to present them to you again, because we're government. And so board members, if you don't mind, we'll just all gather around with the family. We're going to take a giant happy picture.
Oh, so we all have to get in here.
Oh, everybody's in here.
Okay, tall guys in the back.
I'm in the back.
I'll try to find a slot.
You got- can you
Right,
go
Gary, you
from-
gotta come up by me.
Oh, okay.
Is that your, did you want to find it? Are you sure? Jim, get in here.
I'm here.
Are we going in?
Yes.
Big smiles.
There we go.
Yay! Okay, guys, look at your proclamation and give them back. We're gonna. David, congratulations. Can I shake your hand? Edward, congratulations. We're really proud of you guys. And mom and dad too. Thanks, guys. Let's hear it for the guys.
All right, can I get?
Yes. Oh, wait, come
I
on.
want a super quick picture, you guys.
Yes.
All right, there's our shiny boys. I named them.
Laura, send that one to me too. Okay? Jeff, they might as well give them to you. David and Edward, see that gentleman on the end? He's going to present these to you again on Saturday, when we have your special day for just you guys. One more round of applause, guys. We're very proud of you guys. Very proud. Did you want to say anything, guys, or you're okay? Thank you so much. See you Saturday. Have a great Eagle Scout Honor Day. Alrighty, gentlemen. The next thing I wanted to just announce for our veterans out there, there is a Veterans Resource Day at Carroll College on November 6th. There's a resource fair for all veterans, and there's also a town hall meeting for the veterans at Carroll College. So I'm going to give this to Brad, so if anybody's interested, but it's a great resource for our veterans. As Brad stated, there's Assembly Bill 457 and Senate Bill 455, where they are trying to impose that all stormwater utilities will go to the Public Service Commission for its regulation and services, which I'm really against. I mean, that's the last thing we need is the Public Service Commission to regulate our stormwater fees.
Right.
So I'll keep you posted on where it's at. It's had a hearing. It's my understanding it has had a hearing, has it? Well, it's been introduced, so I don't know for sure it's had a hearing, but if it does, boy, I'm going to be up there begging. So I just wanted to let you know, I'll keep you posted on how that's going. And then I've got a letter here from the Federal Management Agency. I'm going to copy this for the board members, so if you feel we need to put this on the agenda, it's in regards to emergency management, FEMA. It's the flood insurance maps, and we participate so that our residents have good insurance just in case of a flood, but I just got this today, so I'm going to copy it to the board members. And if you feel we need to talk about it more at a meeting, I'll be happy to do that. And with that, I think that's all I have. So we'll move on to Brad. Do you have any announcements or reports, or
I have nothing to report.
you don't have a proclamation for any of us? Thanks, Brad. Winter newsletter. What do we give them a deadline on that, Brad?
We're working on it. If you have any ideas for articles or want an article in there, if you can give them to me by the end of the month, that way we can get the newsletter approved by the board at the next board meeting on the 2nd, and then we'll get it off to the printer so that it will hit mailboxes on December 1st.
Sound good, board members?
Yep.
Okay. In the packet, there was the Sheriff's Report and Fire Department report for September of 2023. I put 24 because I know these guys are really advanced, but it is 2023. Any questions or comments on those reports? Jim? Trustee Slaney?
Probably the chief can answer this anyhow, but all the runs that fire department make, do the police, in our case, the county sheriff, go with them?
Not all the time. It depends on if they have staff to be able to know what the call is. There are some calls that they don't respond with us. And quite frankly, we don't need them on EMS calls unless it's something where they happen to be close by, or if there's a law enforcement reason for them to be there. And typically, we are there before they get there anyway. So that's still a kickback to the days gone by when the sheriff did a lot more things for volunteer departments and things like that, where they would respond. But so they come to some of our calls, and not all.
Okay, thank you.
So nothing else on the sheriff's? Then we're moving into accounts payable for October 19th, 2023. I just wanted to add, there was a rec bill in our accounts payable for $1,371.72. I wanted to add that so Brad would just make another check, and we'll come in and sign that if the board doesn't have any objection. And then there's just 3 little changes. Brad's going to make a journal entry on the Vector one that we put that to a receivable account. The check is just fine. Wilcom is giving us $8.32. They're waiving all those finance charges. The Foath bill was just off $30, and the waste management's $48. And Brad will track that because that was an automatic payment. So he'll make sure that waste management just credits us at $48, or find out what the issue was. So with the $86.32 that we are not paying, I would add the $1,371.72, making the accounts payable $72,585.68. Is there a motion to that effect?
Move to approve.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Brad, any manual checks last minute? Nope. Financial reports were in the packet. I know Brad is on the audit. We're getting closer and closer every day. Minutes for October 3rd, 2023, that was that when, was that the, no,
That was a special meeting you guys had during the day.
that was for the building projects, correct? Yeah. Is there a motion to approve the October 3rd, 2023 Village Board minutes for the building projects?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Trustee Newman. Discussion. Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain since I wasn't there.
Okay. And October 5th, 2023, regular village board meeting, is there a motion to approve? I'll make that motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Trustee Slaney. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board members, I am happy to announce we don't need any more budget workshop meetings. We're that close. Very, very close. We obviously have our board meetings on November 2nd and 16th. We have a combined Plan Commission and Village Board meeting on November 8th, correct, Brad? November 23rd and 24th, everything's going to be closed except for the fire department for Thanksgiving. And at this point, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session as read by the village president and as printed on the agenda. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second to that? That was, Trustee Finch. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Trustee Newman. Brad, would you read the roll call vote?
Trustee Millies?
Yes.
Trustee Newman?
Yes.
Trustee Finch?
Yes.
Trustee Slaney?
Yes.
President Chu?
Yes, I almost answered for you, Jeff. I knew it. He's sassy. And just note for the record, we will not make any decisions in closed session. Is that so? Brad, if you could turn off the camera and